Hello everyone, Dr. B, KJV, Eric Ballesteros here, wanting to talk to you about why I became a Christian. And there's different reasons, so I want to have a few videos that are very short that talk about that. So the first reason I became a Christian is because I wanted to have my own will. I wanted to have my thoughts and ideas to be meaningful. I didn't want to be a slave to chemicals. I didn't want to be a slave to anything, and not have freedom, not have my own will, freedom of the will. So that's because under the idea of atheism or naturalistic philosophy, there is no free will. It's a deterministic world. Now, whether it's deterministic, I should say, or not, actually, regardless, there's still no free will. But the point is this. The reason there would be no free will in an atheistic universe would be because it is thought that physics alone controls chemistry. Chemistry controls cell biology. Cell biology controls the organs in your system, your brain, your kidney, your spleen, whatever. And then your brain's an organ, so that produces your mind and your thoughts. So if you look at everything down, that means that physics alone, meaning the four forces of physics, the strong nuclear force, the weak nuclear force, gravity, electromagnetism, that supposedly those would control everything. So just a little thought experiment. I would ask you, do you control an atom? Are you controlling the firing that goes on in your nerve and your neuron, or it's it controlling you, right? So under naturalistic philosophy, the obvious answer there is physics is controlling you. The four fundamental laws of physics determine every single thought you have, every choice you make, so you have no freedom of the will. It's an illusion. You don't really have freedom of the will. And frankly, I think that's absolutely stupid, because without freedom of the will, you cannot know anything. I mean, it's self-refuting. It's like saying, you know what, I came to realize the truth. There is no truth. Never, no truth. That's self-contradictory. In the same way, saying that we have no free will, and then you go ahead and you write a book about how we don't have free will, it makes me not want to believe you. Why? Well, because if you have no free will, that means you didn't choose to write anything you wrote. Everything you wrote were the laws of physics fizzing. And then moral accountability wouldn't make sense. There would be no morality, because the difference between right and wrong is based on you being able to choose right from wrong. You would not blame vinegar or sodium bicarbonate because they fizz too loud. You cannot hold those chemicals accountable for their actions morally, right? It would be dumb. It's just chemicals. Well, it would be the same thing with you. Everything you do you would be an automaton, just reacting like a robot to external stimuli, internal stimuli, a combination of both. But in the end, you are not controlling your neurons. You're not controlling those electrons, those proteins, those cells. They control you, therefore you do everything. So you actually would not be culpable legally for anything. But we know that's stupid. So one of the arguments that are made by some of these scientists who don't think we have free will, and just so you know, in the atheistic, naturalistic, biological sciences world, it's common. For some of you, you're thinking, man, that's crazy. I don't believe in God, and I'm not a Christian, and I still believe we have free will. That's fine. You believe that, but because you're being inconsistent with your worldview, and frankly, you probably have not studied it deep enough. You just think you want to have everything that the Christian has in their worldview and apply it to your worldview, but as you could just tell, it's illogical. It's illogical for you not to believe in the soul, not to believe in God, yet still believe we have true free will. Now, there are certain arguments trying to defend an atheistic free will, but they don't work. They usually involve someone talking about quantum mechanics. But remember this, quantum mechanics is really just a fizz word. It's nothingness. It's a word. Nobody understands quantum mechanics so well. So whenever you want to prove something, you just say, well, quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics talks about how there's indeterminacy, that you can't know exactly where a particle is, whatever. It doesn't matter, because even if the universe is not determinate by quantum mechanics, you still don't control the quantum fluctuations that happen in a quantum vacuum. Either way, you're not controlling the particles, you're not going to control the quantum vacuum. So anyway, just wanted to let you know that's one of the things that I came to realize when I believed in God, or when I studied the godless, naturalistic, atheistic philosophy, is that you don't have free will. And I like being able to do what I want. And yes, I want to worship God now, but and God wants us to follow His will. But guess what? We have the will to choose to follow His will or not. Under atheistic philosophy, you don't have any will. You don't have any control over anything. All your thoughts, emotions, any rebuttal you have against my video, anything you do, say, or believe, it's 100% based on internal stimuli combination, but nothing to do with your own personal choice. You are determined, you're programmed, and you have no control. You're not in command. And that's the end. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, please comment down below. If you disagree, please tell me how so. I'll be glad to reply or have a conversation with you. You have a good one.